without further ado, I would like to take the privilege to introduce our trainer for today. CA Ankit Jallan sir has amassed over 11 years of experience as a chartered accountant, earning certifications in information systems audit and concurrent audit of banks from the ICAI. Presently, as the managing partner at Ankit Jallan and Company in Guwahati, Assam, his expertise lies in the intersection of finance and information technology. His proactive engagement in the field is apparent through his extensive training of CA students and professionals in MS Excel and advanced IT courses. Having instructed thousands of individuals, he demonstrates a commitment to knowledge dissemination and professional growth. Moreover, he holds a master's degree in commerce from Guwahati University and maintains a keen interest in leveraging IT and data analytics in the financial sphere. Outside his professional commitments, he finds fulfillment in sports such as chess, badminton, and cricket, drawing valuable insights from the lessons of leadership and teamwork inherent in these activities. Furthermore, his dedication to community service is evidenced by his membership in JCI Guwahati, Puner, and his current role as Zone Coordinator Bulletin of Zone 25 of JCI India, where he also serves as a certified zone trainer, contributing to leadership development and community enrichment. We are grateful to have you amidst us today, sir. Now, I would like to request Deepak Jain sir, Faculty Advisor of OPTIMA, and Tamisha ma'am to felicitate our respected trainer. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, I would like to invite sir to take over the session. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to each of you. Everyone is doing fine? Just fine. We shall all be doing great, and that is my message which I want to convey to you through this session. Excel, if you can use it to the optimum benefit, you are bound to excel in life. That is what I believe. Avantika, thank you very much for your wonderful introduction. Dear students, I am here with you on this session of Excel for the second time. Some of you might have interacted with me the last time I came to you. So, see, when I talk about Excel, I just want you to understand that there are things which we can definitely do on Excel for sure. And for doing that, we may have number of ways. Just to make the session interesting, let me ask you one very simple question for which I understand that every one of you know the answer for. And if I just converse to you in some parts of Hindi, is that fine? Okay. So, अगर मैं आपसे simple questions पूछूं, आपको आंसर देने में तकलीफ होगी? I ask you very simple questions. Where are all we seated? In the city called Guwahati? Yes. Any doubts about it? No. None of you, I believe. Then that should be a loud no. Yes and no is fine with me, but that is the basic minimum which I expect from you. Alright? Okay. So if all of us are here in Guwahati, and if we have to travel to Delhi, what are the options we have? Airways, roadways, and seaways. Okay. All of you agree? No one can challenge the other person that we have to go only by a flight. We can take a railroad, right? So similar story is with Excel. If I ask you a very simple thing, how can we add two numbers in Excel? Can anyone answer me that question? Again, a simple one, I believe. Excel, has everyone just had a first cut glimpse of it, tried it, tested it, some way or the other? Yes? So this is a very basic question, right? Adding two numbers on Excel. How can we do this? Yes? Sum is one function by which we can do this. Okay. Any other option? Yes, you are very right when you say sum. So don't worry about it that your answer is wrong and you are going to get negative markings. There are absolutely no negative markings here in this session. So yes, what alternate do you have if I have to add two numbers but not using the function called sum? Yes, anyone? Yes? Anyone? You have to be loud. Am I audible to you? So the same should happen to me that you should also be audible to me. Yes. Yes. Any other way? How you can add two numbers? No one. See, at times we confuse our life so much so that we tend to forget the very basic things. If I have to add two numbers, can I not use the plus operator? So why did you not say that? Yes. If I have a value on my screen is visible, right? So I have a value 1 on cell A1, and if I have a value 2 on cell A2, if I have to add this, the first answer which you gave us using the function called sum. I hope it is not visible to the people sitting on the very last. How about it now? Visible? So this is sum function for you using a function called sum. If we put A1 and A2 as the range, we can add the two numbers, and what should be the result? Very obvious, right? Yes, please take your seats. So 1 plus 2 is equal to, yes, what is 1 plus 2? No doubts about it, I believe. Okay. So we should let us try and get the same answer, not by using the sum function, but by using an operator called plus, right? So if I do A1 plus A2, once again I get the result as 3. So here there is nothing which I have taught you. You knew this before. Only thing is I want to break the ice with you, making you to speak out what you already know. Okay. So having this premise laid, I want you to understand that whatever we are going to discuss on Excel, it might be that you already know it. It might be that you may not be knowing it. But the objective is to reach Delhi from Guwahati. And it is not always necessary that we go by a flight. Alright? But now, say for example, if I have to travel from Guwahati to Delhi and I have to reach within the next 6 hours, then do you have any choice other than by going by a flight? The answer is no. Will anyone disagree? You cannot take a road route. You cannot take a rail route. Can you? Will you reach Delhi within 6 hours? You cannot. So, in real life, we have some constraints with us. And given those constraints, we need to construct our routes so that we achieve the objective. This is how life functions. And that is why I'm here to share with you some insights on Excel, how to do some stuff, but again, in least possible time. Mind you, I am a chartered accountant, as your friend introduced me. We are not allowed, or we should not be doing any such analytics or reporting where there is even a 0.1% of error involved. Do you find this correct? You tend to believe, or the world tend to believe, when a document is signed by a chartered accountant, that it has to be correct, right? Everyone has gone to Domino's?
Yes, sir.
Yes. They have a big hoarding in place. 99.99% satisfaction is not good enough. Read it? देखा आप लोग सबने? So if Domino's can claim such that 99.9 is also not good enough, then do we have the leverage of saying so with our reports? Our reports have to be all 100% accurate and correct. Whatever time it may take, now the real world comes in where it places some time constraints with us, and that is why we need tools and techniques which can help us complete our task in given time without falling into any errors. Agreed? And if you can do that you are not doing any errors, and if you can do the work in the least possible time, then it makes sense. I was speaking to Deepak sir. So he told me that your some program is happening and Aman Gupta is coming up.
Yes, sir.
So all of you are excited, I believe. At least some of you, at least for sure. Okay. So when you talk about people of these magnitude, call it Aman, call it last year he told me that it was Ashneer who came up, or speak of any such name, they are talking about big businesses. And all such businesses are driven only by one thing, that is data. You must have heard many times that data is the new oil, and such many proverbs with regards to the usefulness of data, right? So when it comes to data, and if there is lot of data, then there has to be a lot of analysis involved. If only raw data is presented to you, what difference will it make to the person looking at this data? Say, for example, I hope you all have internet with you. So if not, then please make use of your mobile phone and hotspots, and please download some data files shared across to you on your WhatsApp group. And you have three files. Please just download them. Let us see how much time permits us and how much we can cover of it. But yes, there are some data sets. You will try. So very quickly, as we talk, I have shared the data. Similar insight which I look from you. While I talk to you, keep listening to me while also making your hands work and download the data from your respective WhatsApp groups. Okay? Yes. Not sent. Just a second. Where did I send it? Okay. 1 second, please. For some reason, is internet connectivity an issue? Once again, I have tried to send it. Yes, this time it has come. Yes, please check now.
Yes, sir.
So kindly download three Excel files which I have shared with you: data 1, data 2, and data 3. One second, please. So, before we begin the formal learning as planned for this session, I hope the data is downloaded. Yes. Since you are already using mobiles, I planned an activity for you. So what is that you are supposed to do is, please open a website called menti.com, M-E-N-T-I, menti.com. Either on your cell phones or on your laptops, as the case might be. M-E-N-T-I, menti.com. Okay, and therein you will be asked a code. So you need to write in there 11526083. It is there on the screen. I'll just zoom it for you. 11526083. 11526083, the code is on top. Just enter that, and then you will have options to insert some responses. Please hold here. What is that you are expected to answer here is, I'm looking for responses from you with regards to Excel. आप लोग को जितना भी Excel आता है, just give the best of keywords which you want to put in those response boxes. Whatever with regards to Excel, if there is something you need to learn, you have seen someone use that feature in Excel, or if it is something which you generally use in Excel. Anything with regards to Microsoft Excel, you can write it in those response boxes and then hit the submit button. Okay. See, your responses will be displayed on screen, so please don't write anything which is not required here. It will be flashing on the screen, so please avoid that. Let us allow some time to fill in some responses. We have 4 people who have responded till now with 8 responses, so we're looking for more and more responses. I have some keywords like pivot table, data validation, VLOOKUP. Okay, very nice. More responses, please. Those who have not filled in, only 4. Okay, now 7 people. Data interpretation and data validation. Okay. Okay. More of people are writing about data analysis using some formulas and charts. Okay. More keywords which I can see is like histogram, average, data in tabular form. Okay. But the majority has written about data analysis, formula, and chart. Okay. So when we talk about basics of Excel, see, Excel is something like maths. If I just compare the two, see, in class 1, do you study maths? No? Yes. कहाँ से आया ये वाला no? Anyway, we did. Yes? Okay, and in class 10 also, we are supposed to study mathematics, right? However, is the level same over class 1 and 10? The answer is no. So similar as with Excel. When we talk about data analysis, when we talk about formulas, and when we talk about more features about Excel, it is like when we are talking about with a basic, on a basic level, we'll be talking about sum, say for example, but when we are doing something similar to what we did the very beginning of the session, is equal to summation of 2 numbers, is equal to an operator called plus. But when we go higher, we need to understand that there will be not only 2 numbers which we need to add, there will be thousands of line items which we need to add, which we need to count, for which we need to do some analysis. We need to maybe find the maximum value out of it, the minimum value out of it, the average value, and so on and so forth. Okay. So there are different functions which we need to understand the way we travel with our journey on Excel. And today, for that matter, I have designed some exercises which we can do simultaneously, both of us, and we will be able to see the use case of some functions. Maybe some of that you are already doing, and some maybe new to you. Alright. So sum, is that function clear to each of us? Can anyone tell me now what is the shortcut to insert that sum function? Anyone? All of you give the right answer for adding 2 numbers. That was sum. Now, if I have to do that very quick, how do you do it with keyboard? See, now when you are using Excel, you have 2 input devices in general. One is your mouse and the other is your keyboard. The more you use your mouse, the slower you will be. And the more you can use your keyboard and the keystrokes, you can accelerate on speed. Okay. This does not mean you do not have to use the mouse at all. You need to derive an optimum combination for yourself so as to remember some keyboard shortcuts which will help you do the task in a much faster and easier manner. Alright. So this is something which I now escape, and before I do that, let me just tell you that here in this room, the people who have answered, 43 of you with 78 responses, most of them have talked about data analysis. So you are regarding Excel as a software which could be used for data analysis. Either you have seen people doing that or you want to do that. Alright. Then second is something, see this word cloud, this is called as a word cloud. And in this case, you can see the ones which are highlighted in a bigger font. Something like data analysis, then something I can see is a pie chart, a graph, a formula, and then the size of each of the words are getting smaller and smaller. So it means lesser number of people have answered that as the response. Okay. This is one understanding about this picture which you see on screen. Now, if I come back and if I quickly, I hope everyone has downloaded the file by now. Yes. So let me open data one for you. Okay. So before I run into this is just a formal PPT which every trainer brings in for you. So that is my PPT for you. I don't have a lot of slides to share with you, but we will talk more about it on Excel. So what are we going to cover today? That is what I have only as the single slide which I want to demonstrate. So we will talk about the basic concepts of Excel. There are some things which we call it ranges. So data range. When we talked about the sum function, we wrote A1 is to A2. So that style of writing first cell along with the last cell and a is to in between, that type of style is called as a range. So you are putting in the value of all those cells in between the first cell and the last cell, and that becomes a range of cells. So that is called as a range. We'll talk about different formulas. In this case, it was the function called sum. So in Excel, we interchangeably use the word function and formula. Okay, so both mean the same. There is no difference as such. Then there are charts and pivot tables, which we are going to talk about. And then there are basic many tips and tricks, which I will share with you as we progress in the session. Alright, so this is what I intend to do. And in case if you want to understand something more, we'll talk about it towards the end of the session. Alright, you can have your own doubts and queries, which we have given my knowledge and experience. If I can solve it, I'll do it. That will take up at the very end of the session. Alright. So here, if I come back to data one now, so I request each of you to kindly open this file for those who are having their laptops. So you can open data one. So you see this data. Yes. In this data, you have only 3 line items: shop ID 2, 3, and 5, with 3 different salesperson selling some items like pizza and burger for X price. Yes. Everyone is okay with this data? See, what is one fear which many of us have while working with Excel is the size of the data. At times, the size, when I talk about the size, in Excel, we call this as line items. So this is one line item indicated in row 4. I hope everyone is okay with the idea of rows and columns in Excel. Yes. Can anyone tell me how many rows and how many columns in one Excel sheet in Excel? Yes. Yes. No negative marking, so you can very well answer. Yes. Sorry. I'm audible to you, right?
There's no limit.
No, there is a limit. In one worksheet, there is a limit. I'll show you. Yes. Anyone else?
Some 1,000.
11,000. Too small a number. You can put it on a एक जीरो भी बढ़ा देंगे ना तो भी वो खत्म नहीं होगा. ठीक है? See, I told you I'm a CA, so I will not accept anything and everything whatever you say. Our basic characteristic is we want proof. बिना proof के हम कोई बात नहीं मानते हैं. Just आपने कह दिया और हम मान लें ये हमारा characteristic नहीं है. Alright. So if I have to go by this, and if I have to prove you with what is the last cell, as your friend said, it is unlimited. So she might be correct, but I said no. So let me show you. So you can see this is row number 1, this is 2. You can see this particular box on the screen, 1, 2, 3. If you can scroll it down, you can see the numbers going ahead. Now it is 218. So your friend said 11,000. So if I have to scroll it till 11,000, do you think it will take me some time? And if it is 1,10,000, then it will take me some more time. Yes. And 5 lakhs. Do we have the time and patience to do it? Long back, Airtel as a company created an advertisement. Impatience is the new life. And you guys today are total examples of saying so that we are not having any patience and we run impatiently everywhere. Am I wrong? Oh, we'll discuss it later if I'm right or wrong on that part. But yes, we do not have so much time to scroll through 11,000 rows. So if I have to scroll through 10 lakh rows, my answer to you is the number of rows in Excel is 1048576. It means 10,48,576 row. Having said this, you may now ask me, sir, where is the proof? So here is the proof. I jumped directly to 1048576 row, and you can see there is no 1048577 row, right? So how do I do this? So for this, you need to understand how to navigate within your data. And once you understand that, the size of the data will stop disturbing you. Alright. Irrespective of whatever the size of the data might be, you will not bother to care. Yeah, I have 50,000 line items of data. This is going to take me forever to complete the analysis of this task. So this fear which you might be having in case I just presented data to you, you'll have no such fear at all. The good part about Excel is if you can just write one function correctly, the second functions can be just copied and pasted. And Control C and Control V, we are not very familiar to, right? वही तो हमें आता है. दिन भर अगर हमें कुछ काम करना हो, we try to copy and paste, right? So our life is very simple. In case we can just write one correct function, and that is where the entire story lies. Now, if you are on this data, say for example, I come to G1. You can understand this is your G1 cell. How do you interpret the cell names? Through the column name and the row name, right? Since this is column G and this is row 1, if I click on this cell, the name of this cell will be G1. If you do not understand this, then you can refer to this area. This area is called as a name box. Okay? Since you are still studying and you are in a school and college environment, you must be having your notebooks and books with label on top. वो book आपका ही है. ये कैसे पता चलता है? Because you have the labels on top of your books and notebooks depicting your names. Yes. So when the teacher comes and say, okay, this notebook belongs to, and he or she will read just the name from the label. Yes. So that label in case of Excel is here as the name box. Okay. Why I'm stressing on this so much? Because when I second time use the word name box, you should not be finding it everywhere on the screen. You should directly point your eyes towards this area. Okay. So this is called as the name box and this is called as the formula bar. So you need to understand this. Every formula which you write in any of the cell, you can see it here for that cell when clicked. Okay. So here it is written as Kathy. So you can see Kathy on the formula bar. And the name box has changed to C4 since I have clicked on the cell called C4. Alright. Now, if I ask you, I need the sum of three numbers. That is 58, 128 and 100. So, can we get the sum here? Yes. The answer is yes. So, one thing we can do it in this manner is equal to sum, open the bracket, put in the range which you want to add, that is E4 to E6, close the bracket and hit enter. So, I get the result as 286. Is it correct? Yes. Anyone who does mental math very quickly, you can calculate. Yes, Excel has given you the correct result. It is 286. Yes? No doubts about it, I believe. So we can trust Excel on this. Can we trust Excel here? Yes. Yes. Now, if I don't do this and if I want to accelerate my summation, then one option is throw mouse. We can come and click on this auto sum and it will insert the same function here. You just need to hit enter and we'll get the result. So this is yet another way how you can reach at this summation. If you still don't want to do this, then the third way is hitting alter and equal to together. Alter plus equal to is the shortcut to insert the auto sum function. So you don't have to touch your mouse at all. Okay? And in case you know nothing of it, then the old style still prevails, is equal to E4 plus E5 plus E6. The answer is all the time the same. Right? But imagine 500 cells. Can you do is equal to E4 plus E5 plus E6 for 500 times? You can do, but it does not make sense in doing it. We do not have so much time. And in case, not in case, very soon you will be looking for jobs and getting into businesses. Either ways, neither in your own business nor in someone else's business as an employee will you be allowed so much time that you can just do is equal to E4 plus E5 plus E6 for 500 times. Yes? And if you are still saying that yes, I will do so, then if I just increase 5,000 times, will you like to do this? The answer is a big no. Yes? Now, if I don't do this, let me show you another way of doing it. I will call a function called subtotal. Okay, subtotal. Sum. If I ask you the meaning of it, you understand that that word adds some numbers. We have that understanding. Yes. When I ask you about the literal meaning of the word called subtotal, what will you answer me? Anyone would like to try that? Subtotal. इस word से आप क्या समझते हो? In very basic sense, forget everyone is sitting in the class. Just answer it. Yes, anyone would like to answer this? Subtotal. What do you understand by this word in your language? Forget English, forget yes, whatever you feel comfortable, you can answer. Yes, please. Louder and loud enough that I can hear you. Anyone? Subtotal. The best way to learn Excel is just to interpret the words in front of you. So here the word is subtotal for you. What do you understand by the word subtotal? That is what I am looking for. See, when you say sum and when you say total, total is okay. You have some addition of numbers. That is how you total things. When you say subtotal, then what comes to your mind? आज से तो आपने बताया ना मैं भी समझ रहा हूँ लेकिन उसको आपको अपने शब्दों से बयां करना है. Okay. Yes, I know you get it, but I'm still wanting to listen it from you. Speak it out. Total of all the numbers. So if these are some numbers, then the total of all the numbers is something like sum, which we have already seen. Then what is the difference between subtotal? Why I'm not calling it only total, but subtotal?
Total of specified numbers.
Yes, a bit louder, please.
It's a total of specified numbers.
So these are again specified numbers. Yes, can I ask you this way? Then how do you differentiate again sum versus subtotal? Yes, speak. You're saying something. Eh?
It's a total of column. Yes.
Forget Excel. Forget Excel. Just give me a meaning for subtotal in without any reference to Excel. Excel आपके सामने खुला ऐसा भूल जाइए. Subtotal वर्ड से आप क्या समझते हो?
Suppose total of all the given numbers. So the aggregate is the total. Sum of all totals.
See, I'll answer you. Subtotal when you say na, if there are, say for example, these three numbers and again these three numbers. So if I total this first, say for example, the total of this becomes 286. I delete this. This 100 is deleted. Now I total these two values, something like this. Say for example, this is category 1 and this is category 2. So the total of category 1 is 286. The total of category 2 is 186. So these two totals, if added together, becomes the grand total. But when you have interim totals in between data, that is generally called as subtotals. Okay? Within your data, when you have multiple totals or multiple summations, that is regarded as subtotal. And when you add all such subtotals together to get your grand total, see if I delete this numbers here and if I just add all these numbers here, the answer should be 186 plus 286. That is here 472. Now, if I have a function here called a subtotal, now I hope it is not visible. No? Now I hope it is better legible to guys sitting on the last. Yes. So when I open the bracket for subtotal, you can see there is a list of other functions along with it. You have average, you have count, and you also have a function here called sum written on number 9. Yes. So using subtotal and the function number is 9, you can still get the sum. But that sum will have some benefits since you added a function called subtotal to it. And what is that benefit? I'll show it to you. So when I say subtotal of E8 and E9 and I close the bracket, so I get as 186. And similarly, if I use another subtotal here and this time I range it as E4 to E6, then this should be 286, right? So this is 286. So you will say there is no difference with respect to sum and subtotal 9 function. So it should not be a difference. Now, first of all, the value should be same because you are adding three numbers 58, 128 and 100 and the sum of these three numbers cannot be anything other than 286. It has to be 286, it has to be correct. Right? And the addition of these two numbers 58 and 128 has to be 186. It cannot be anything else. Right? For your example, let me change these numbers to 1 and 2 and here 2, 3 and 4. Sorry. 1, 2 and 3. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. We all are very well aware about it. I'm just pushing in maths out of it so that you are not getting confused with the Excel part. You understand it well enough so that you do not confuse yourself with maths. Okay. And the sum of 1 and 2 is 3, which is shown out here. Now 6 and 3 should be how much? What I'm getting here is, why is that I'm getting here is 15? I'll show it to you. It is because when I see this 15, I'm having a range called E4 to E9. And E9 is wrong, it should be E10 first of all. But if I add all of it, then the result is 18, which is the sum of the individual numbers along with the total of that number, along with these individual numbers, also the total of these two numbers, right? So what is happening here is, it should be 6 plus 3, which is 9, but our sum function does not understand that it should not be adding the totals also. This is double counting, right? You're counting these numbers 1 plus 2 plus 3 and 1 and 2 twice. This is because the sum function is in place here and this number is getting added to the result. Yes? So the usefulness of that function which I just told you, subtotal, you can see now. When I write subtotal 9 and when I put in the entire range as the input for my subtotal 9 function, what happens is you get the exact correct result which you wanted. Did you get the difference between the two functions?
Yes.
Sum captured in all the inputs whichever was present in that range. But subtotal understood for itself that there are some inputs which are actually outputs of the given input itself. What about? For your ease of understanding, I have shown you the functions which I have used. So here is 1 plus 2 plus 3 are single numbers. The subtotal of these three numbers is mentioned on the cell E7 and E10 as well. And when I add E4 to E10 using the function called subtotal, Excel understands that it should not double count the values and therefore it is just taking in the count of the individual figures which are on top and not the subtotal values. Okay, so this 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 and 2 are getting added and displayed here as the result. Alright, so this is one thing which we need to understand. Else, what happens when we start using Excel is we we tend to believe whatever output Excel gives us as correct. We don't tend to use our calculators or manual mathematics at all. And this reliance can be dangerous if you do not understand what Excel will do and you simply rely on it. Alright? So this is why this difference being shown to you, so that you understand that if you are using some subtotals for which you are also calculating the grand total, then it is not the sum function that is supposed to be used. You should use the function called subtotal 9. Alright? And this is not only true when you are using sum or subtotal. If you validate this list, you can see 1 to 11. There are 11 such functions which can be used with the subtotal function. So when you are counting something, it is count and count a. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between count and count a? Are you using count functions? Yes. So I'll have this question for you. क्या difference है?
So count is the total number of
And count is?
count will add all the numbers.
Add? Add me, count. Count is for count. Add for add it is sum.
Count will give the total number.
And count a will give?
So
Every मतलब?
It recognizes all the numerators.
Okay. So count will give you the count of numbers only, and count A will give you the count of numbers as well as text. So when I have something here as, I'll give you an example for that. I have a character, I have a cell in which it is input as Ram, and the second one I have it as Sham. And then I have a number called 1 and I have a number called 2. So herein, if I ask you what is the count of these numbers, the selected range, what should be the count? 3 to answer नहीं आएगा, right? Either it is 2 or 4. How do you find the answer as 3? Okay. So if I use the function called count, then it will give me the result as 2. It means simply that of these cells, this selection, how many of them are numbers? The count of numbers only. So 1 and 2 are numbers here. That is why this result as 3. Count as 2. If I change the function to count A for the same range, it will take into count all numbers as well as text also. Okay. So here the result will now be 4. Now one question for you guys. If I have to count in only text, then what is the function?
count it.
Yes. Count A. Sorry. Count F. But if there are, okay, let me just show you. Count if the name of this function count if, it means that it is a conditional count. So what is the condition that you may put here? How will you define all such text within your condition? Yes, anyone? आपने आंसर क्या मेरे को count A and count का difference. So first, will you? I'll answer this. Have you have you learned about the set theory in maths? Sets पढ़ा है ना आपने? Union and intersection. You remember that? If I go with the same logic, and I'll not answer you this as an Excel question, but this is more of a logical understanding. You answered about count and count A. A gives you the total count, right? So if I want only the count of text, what I can do is count A of, okay, I'll do it again. Count A of these numbers. This will give me 4. And then I will do a minus count of numbers only. Okay. So this will return me the count of text. Okay, here it is 2. You may not believe me. So let me put it as another text. So this is count of text. Okay. So here I have one number. So this value count of G5 to G8 is actually returning the result as 1, and count A of G5 to G8 is returning the result as 4. So 4 minus 1 is 3, and that becomes for me the count of only text. Okay. Alright,
Yes.
any questions here? Any doubts, any understanding which you need to have more? So if I move on to the next sheet now, similar data set. Here you have some more line items. How many rows of data? It is 16 rows of data. So some shop ID, some salesperson's name, some items, burger, pizza, and hot dog, your most favorite ones, and then your selling price for each of them. Alright. So here if I ask you what is the total sales? So I can use a function called sum. Now I'm just accelerating a bit because these are simple stuff you might already be knowing. Okay. If anywhere you feel my speed going faster, you can ask me to pause or answer it once again. Okay. So here I will use a function called as sum, move on to the very first cell, and using my shift control down, I can select the range till the very end where my data is. Okay. Here I will close the bracket and hit enter. So I get the result as 1604. Right? So this is the total sales of this data. It means the total sales from shop ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is total as 1604. Yes.
Can you increase the size?
Yes, I can. ऐसा रखूं? I can, but then you will not be able to see the data on the left. Either you can see it. I'll just zoom out a bit. Okay. Abhi, is it fine now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the function which you can see on the formula bar, or you can see it here as well. So it is equal to sum of E4 to E19. Yes. Easy one. Already you know about it. Now, if I talk about the average sales value, then it becomes very simple once again. Instead of the function called sum, I am using the function called average. So again, average of E4 to E19, bracket close, and you have the averages 100.25. Okay. So see, irrespective of the size of the data, see, I am being very clear with my words. I am not bothered whether it is 16 line items or whether it is 16,000 line items. I'm just navigating onto E4 and then I'm hitting one keystroke, that is control shift down. Okay. So irrespective of whatever the length or the size of the data might be, it will take you to the very last cell. Yes. Some of you might have missed that. So please don't do it through your mouse, because if you do it through your mouse, then what will happen is you will keep on scrolling it till the very end. And if there are 16,000 line items, then your scroll will never get over. Meanwhile, you will get a phone call and you will miss on your mouse click. Yes? सबके साथ होता है? So there are n number of reasons to keep us distracted. So herein will not allow that time to come in. उतना टाइम के पहले हमारा काम खत्म हो जाएगा. That is what I mean to say. ठीक है? Yes. So what I have done is I have written is equal to. Have a look. Don't do it with me. I will not give you that much time that you can see do along with me. Okay. So what you need to do is just type AVE. That is the starting starting characters of the word called average, and then you will see a list. So select it from that list and press the tab key. In this process, what happens is you don't have to write as much. Second thing, you will not be doing spelling errors. The problem with the generation now is every word has become that SMS lingo, and spelling are gone. Okay, so Excel will not give you grace marks if you do wrong spellings. That formulas will not work, and you will put it onto Excel that my Excel is not working. So it is not that Excel is not working. You have given a wrong input. Okay, computers work on GIGO. What is GIGO? Perfect. Garbage in, garbage out. The more you give it, the more you should be ready to accept from it as well. Okay, so don't give it what you are not expecting from it. Okay, so AVE, I navigate in this list through my cursor keys. I come down to average, hit the tab key. So here it is asking me for the range, which I need to calculate the average for. So using my mouse key, I will navigate onto the very first cell. Control shift down, if I press, it navigates me totally to the very end of the data till my data lies. Okay, and in my case, this is E19. Here again, either I can use the shift 0 key to close the bracket, or else I can again press the tab key. So if you can actually work with your left hand on the keyboard, which I don't see most of you doing it, but that is how you should handle your computer. It is not that your left hand can rest on your, or your cheek should rest on your left hand. If this is it, then you are not going to gain on speed. Okay? So your left hand should cover the left part of the keyboard. Somewhere around F key. Okay? Till the F key, it is your left part of the it is your left hand which should take care of the keyboard, and onwards onto the right hand side, it is through your right hand that you should be using the keyboard. Okay, that is a basic minimum you should be having so as to get some speed. Okay, control shift down. Okay, and I see some users using Mac here. So with Mac, your key strokes will change. So I am a Windows user and I don't remember all of the Mac shortcuts, so sorry about it. But mostly it is control with your command key and then the key. Okay. Number of entry, it simply means the count of items. So we have seen it is 16, but where did we see it? Once we selected it, then you can see it here on the status bar. This bar on the very end is called the status bar, and in status bar you can see the count. But if you want the count in one of the cells, then you can get it through the count function which we have already discussed. So you'll write is equal to count. See CO, when I have written it and I'm scrolling it, I'm getting so many functions. So what I can do is I can type in another letter so that the list gets again filtered with the 3 characters COU. So count and then bracket open, and then say for example if I do it with the item column, it gives me the result as 0. Why is this 0? Why is this 0? It is count and not count A. If I have to take the count of this column, column D, then it should be count A. Or if I am using count, then I should not be using column D. I should be using column E. Okay. So I can do this and I can get the result as 16. Now max and the minimum. Maximum and the minimum. So what is the highest sales value which you can see here? So again, if you just eyeball the result, it will take you forever to complete the task if it is a 16,000 line item data, right? So you cannot adopt a manual technique. That is the message which I want to convey to you. So there is another function here called max. So using max, again, if I navigate from the very first to the very end, I can get the result as the maximum value within that data. And for getting the minimum value, the function name is min. Max and min. Okay. So these are 5 functions which we are talking about in this particular sheet. How you can get the values from the data for different values. The sum, the average, the count, the maximum value and the minimum value. Any doubts here? The functions are in front of you if you have to refer it. Or I guess these are all okay. Yes. There is a shortcut. Okay, before that there is a question. What do you call the key just below the escape key? Escape के नीचे एक की है, उसका नाम क्या है? Yes? Hyphen? नहीं? Yes, what is the name of the key just below the escape key? Not an Excel question. Approx नहीं. आप बेंच में उसको equivalent use कर लेते थे, इसलिए आप approx बोल रहे हो, लेकिन this is not correct. The name of the key is tilde key. TILDE is the spelling. People call it tilde. Some people call it tilde. Okay, but I believe the correct pronunciation is tilde. So using control with tilde key, if you press on Excel, you will be shown all the functions in that sheet. So control tilde is the shortcut for seeing the functions and also for hiding the functions. It is a toggle button. Toggle, I hope everyone understands. Can anyone give me an example of a toggle button? Example of a toggle button. See, what is a toggle button? A button which turns on a feature and the same button turns off the feature. Example, this button, which is your power button on the monitor, if I press it, will the monitor turn off? And will it turn on again if I press the same key? So this is an example of a toggle key. Therein, I have some switches for turning lights on and off. So again, examples of toggle key. Alright, आपके लैपटॉप्स पर, आपके मोबाइल्स पर एक ही की है ना जिससे मोबाइल ऑन और ऑफ दोनों होता है. So example of toggle key. Okay. आपके कीबोर्ड पर एक की है कैप्स लॉक. Again example of toggle key. ठीक है? Coming on to the next sheet, if there are no doubts and queries onto this one. Okay. So again, same data, but our analysis and questions may differ. Say for example, how many burgers are sold within this data set? Only sales of burger. Now see, we are slowly creeping into analysis. Okay. बर्गर कितना बिका? अगर मैं आपसे ये डेटा, इस डेटा पर ये सवाल पूछूं, कैसे आंसर करोगे? How will you answer if I ask you how many burgers? What is the value of total burgers sold? Yes. How did you arrive at that figure? See, how is the better question here? Your value may be right, maybe not right, maybe correct, maybe incorrect. But how is the bigger question? आप दिल्ली पहुंच जाओगे, मेरे को कोई चिंता नहीं है, लेकिन आपने कैसे दिल्ली पहुंचे, आप that is more important and relevant to me. Yes, 652. Please answer me. जिसने भी आपने आंसर किया 652. How did you arrive at that figure? Okay. So he said that we can filter item for burgers, say for example, and say for example he can get the result out here 652, which he can speak out loud, or else he can come here and put an alter equal to get the result. Yes. But now imagine, my friend, you are reporting for an organization like Big Bazaar. Now Smart Bazaar, okay. Therein there are 500 items. अभी तो example में तीन ही है, burger, pizza and hot dog. So if I have a list of 500 items, can you every time filter one by one each of them, get the total of each of them and say it to the person asking you? Or should you be able to make a report of it? The total burger sales 652, total pizza sales X, total hot dog sales Y. Can we do something like that? So now, say for example, if I have to do certain things which I explained to you right now. Say for example, if I need burger sales, okay, let me, what I can do here is, there is a function, okay, before getting into that, every one of you who are using Excel, do you know first which version of Excel you are using? Can you prove it to me? Can you prove that to me? Why should I agree with you कि आप जो बोल रहे हो सही है? So if you have to prove me or show me which version of it is that you are using, is it on your screen? अगर मैं आपके पास आऊँ, can you show it to me? So for most of you who are using a newer laptop purchased in less than 1 year, 2 years, तो आपके पास एक अच्छी बात ये है कि it comes with Office, and if it comes bundled with Office, then mostly it is 2021 version that you might be using. Then there is another version of Excel which is subscription based version, which you might not be using for obvious reasons because you are not using Excel as much. So it is Office 365, okay, or Microsoft 365 as they call it now. So where do you get it? The shortcut is Alter FD. I'll write it for you. Alter FD. Once again, someone who is sitting somewhere at the very end might not be able to see it. Abhi dikh raha hai? So alter FD. Yes. So if you press this, so you'll navigate to Excel account, and herein on the right hand side you will be shown this. So in my case it is Microsoft 365. Okay. So you can very well check for yourself which version of Excel is that if you are using. Anyone using Microsoft 365 here? One. Alter FD, if you press while on Excel, somewhere over here, Alt FD, sorry, Alt FD. So you will reach at this screen where you can see for yourself what is the version of Excel that you are using. Okay, found. Why do I, in the middle of the session, ask you to check this? Because every time Microsoft releases a newer version of Excel, it adds some features to it. And the function which we are going to discuss next is one feature which is present only in Office 365 and not in other versions of Excel.
Right.
You can talk to me rather than talking to each other. Yes, tell me. So one of you is using 365. Anyone else? अब आप लोगों ने देख लिया ना कि आपका कौन सा वर्जन है, तो आपको दिख रहा है क्या है. So anyone using Microsoft 365? Sorry, 2021. So you are using 365. Anyone else? 365. Okay. Anyone else out here? No one. 365 है ना. अभी मेरे को आपसे प्रूफ चाहिए था ना, तो ये प्रूफ आपके सामने है. Please see for yourself and just raise your hand. That is what I expect of. ठीक है. So with 365, it is the latest version of Excel, and Microsoft releases the most recent updates on this version only. Okay, and in Office 365, they have recently introduced some functions. Example, one of them is unique. Now, if I ask you, interpret this particular word unique and answer me what do you understand from this? Unique word से आप क्या समझते हो? Sorry? Different. Okay. Not the very appropriate word. But yes. See, if I ask you, how many items are there in this list of items? How many of them? How do you answer those three? Using eyeball technique. When I say eyeball, मैं literally mean कर रहा हूँ आंखों से देखकर बता रहे हो मेरे. All right. So using your eyes, you are able to see it as burger. You scroll it. Okay, second item you get it here as pizza. You scroll it further. Third item मिला hot dog. उसके बाद you keep on scrolling and you don't find a new item. But do you think this is the most logical way to get it? 16,000 line items. आपका calculation सही होगा, guarantee दे सकते हो? Never, right? So a better approach is this. If you can click on this list which opens up for you. It shows the item only once. तो यहाँ पर counting फिर भी possible है. लेकिन अगर 16,000 line items, Big Bazaar kind of store, 500 different items, you cannot count, right? Now, if I have to get that unique list prepared in front of me somewhere, then I can use this function called unique. Okay, and unique, if I just put the range here in Office 365. What I get here is only these three items. So this function is very good to use, but again, very sorry that it is not present in versions other than of Microsoft 365. So three of your friends who are using here 365, you can do it and try, but others you will not be able to do it. So does this limit our ability to find this? And can we tell our respective bosses कि मेरे पास तो 365 नहीं है, so I cannot do this? क्या आपका बॉस शाबाशी देगा? Answer is no, right? So how do we get this? We can copy this and say, for example, we can paste it here somewhere, anywhere. And herein there is an option called data, and here is an option called remove duplicates. So unique and duplicates are all opposites. So what it will do here is, if I just hit OK, it will delete all those duplicate entries and keep only the unique ones. So you have for yourself if you don't have 365, you have still created a list for yourself of the unique items. Okay? So either ways, either through the newer logic of using Microsoft 365, you can do it through the unique function, or else you can do it through remove duplicates function, which is even present in 2003 version of Excel. उससे पुराना तो शायद आप लोग किसी के पास होगा नहीं. Yes. Now, if I have to get the sum of burger sales, or for that matter pizza sales, or for that matter hot dog sales, what I can do is I can use a function this time, but this time it will not be sum or subtotal, but this time it will be sum if. Why if? Because the sum which we need here is based on a condition. That what is the condition? The sales only for burger, I need to add it together, right? So that is why I'm using a function called SUMIF. So using SUMIF, it is asking me for three things: range, criteria, and sum range. So what I do is I'll input the range first and then the criteria. So if I understand that the criteria is this burger, then what is the range where I can find this burger? So that becomes my range. So if I navigate here, so starting from D4 to D19, that becomes my range where I need to search something. And what is that search? That search is this cell, I4, which has the word burger mentioned over there. Okay? And then if this is found, what I need to do is I need to add it. So where do I get the values to add it? It lies in E4 to E19. So I'll close the bracket here and hit enter. So what it returns me is 652. So my friends who were telling me that what is the total of burger sales, did you find this figure that time? 652 ही आया था आपका भी? So this is burger sales, and say for that matter, if I write here pizza, then this figure changes to 552, and if I write hot dog here, this one changes to 400. Okay? So in one cell, this is my function. Sorry. This is my function. If I just write the function correctly, and if I just change the input in I4 with hot dog, pizza or burger, then what happens is I can get the result for any of them just by changing that. Yes. And to look at even more fancy, what I can do is I can prepare a list of the unique items through the unique function or through remove duplicates, as I told you. And that is maybe here, burger, pizza and hot dog. And this cell, there is another feature here called data validation within data tab. And this allows me to include a list. What will be my source of this list? The source of this list will be these three items. And if I can do this, what I can do next here is, this software, Microsoft Excel, now has a drop down in it which allows me to choose one among the three, burger, pizza or hot dog. And if I click on burger, it returns me burger. I don't even have to type now. Okay? I can change this just by a drop down to pizza. The value changes for pizza. And if I change it to hot dog, my sum changes for hot dog and I get the correct result. So your software Excel, you can further tweak it so as to act like any other software where you have some drop downs and clicks for getting your further fine-tuned results. Okay? So writing the formula is only one time job, and once you do that correctly, then a lot of things can happen automatically very easy. And that is the entire crux. This is a very small example of what all we can do, but a very small one, but a good one indeed to understand how you can build up formulas on Excel. Alright? Doubts and queries? I understand you might be having some doubts here. How did I create that list? Yes? Should I repeat that part? So, say for example, I don't have this and I have a blank cell here. Okay? I need to create a list here. So, what I do is I go to data tab. In data tab, I have here is something called data validation. In data validation, this pop-up opens up. Here I choose allow a list. And what becomes my source of that list is this three values: burger, pizza and hot dog. You may get this list either through a unique function or through a remove duplicates feature as we have already discussed. And using this list, if I hit OK, this cell gets a drop down for itself. And once you have this drop down, you may choose either of it from the list. And this cell, if you have linked it to this particular cell, then this will give you the sum for this particular item, pizza or dog or burger. Good part about it is you may either choose it from the drop down or you may even type it out. Okay, either ways you can do this. Good part is you may not do spelling mistakes. Example, I don't know the spelling of pizza and I do it something like this. The moment I hit enter, it will return me an error showing that this value PIZZZAAA cannot be inserted into this cell. So you are spared that you are not able to do a spelling mistake. अब आप चाह कर भी गलती नहीं कर सकते, ये मैं आपसे कहना चाह रहा हूँ, ठीक है? So you can write the correct spelling or you can choose the correct from the list, but you cannot put in any other figure, because if you put in any other figure, this value will not come up because this is only coming up for these three items mentioned here, either pizza, burger or hot, right? Your data, if your data has only three inputs, then can you get the sum for the fourth input? If I can ask you what is the total for any other item which is not pizza, burger, and hot dog, will this data return me the result? No. That is why we can make some rules where if the user goes outside that boundary, he will not be returned with a result. Okay. Okay. So similarly, if I ask you total sales in shop 1, sum of total sales in shop 1. Now this is shop ID 2, 3, 4, 5, also 1 here. So 1 ka sales kitna tha? This is your question. What is the total sales of 1? Shop 1. So the answer is very simple again here. Sum if, what is the range here? This becomes my range. The criteria being 1 because of shop 1. And then I need to just have the range for which I need to have the sum. So this becomes my function for getting the value of total sales from shop 1. See, I am doing it fast, I understand, but if you have a doubt, I can repeat it. My function is in front of you. If you have any doubts, any queries, you can ask me. Yes? So this particular sheet we are talking about SUMIF. Similar to SUMIF is COUNTIF, AVERAGEIF. So if you have understood SUMIF very well, then we will not talk about COUNTIF and AVERAGEIF because it is almost the same. Only thing is the output will change because it will give you the output of average function and count function. But the logic of writing the function is almost the same. Okay? You need to respond if it is alright with you, or should I explain it anywhere, somewhere in between where I have created a list or where I have used a function. Let me know, please. Is it okay?
Sure.
Okay.
So how do I do it after putting one?
If you have to change it to shift shop 2, you can either change this value here. This will give you the result for shop 2. If you have to link it here, then you can link this cell. Say for example I5. Here you may have options for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 similar to data validation which we have created in the previous example. And then you can link this cell something like this. Instead of, see, if you link this two functions, here this is I4, right? Here I have given a static input 2. So this is returning me the result for shop ID 2. But if I don't have 2 here, but instead of this 2, if I put it as I5, meaning this cell, then what will happen is, whatever is written here, say if it is 2, then it will return me the value of shop 2. If it is 3, it will return me the value of shop 3. So here you have not given a static. Here, instead of I5, if you put a static value of shop ID 1 or 2 or 3, then the formula is restricted to only that shop. But if you don't restrict it to that number, but link it to this cell, then you have the option of changing the shop ID here so that your result can change. Got it? Data validation part? Okay. I will look here. So, say for example, this is the list which I want to create on this particular cell. So what I do, okay, let me do it on this cell, okay, new cell. So I first click onto this cell, I go to data tab. This is called as the data tab. In data tab, there is an option here, it's called data validation. So on data validation, I'll click it to it, allow a list. And it is asking me for the source of that list. So for source of that list, I'll click on source and then I'll select these three cells which will be the items in that list. And the moment I hit OK, this cell now becomes a cell with that list. Got it? Any more queries? Okay. Take some time, 10-15 seconds, and try and complete it. And once you're done, we'll move on to the next stage. Do you find this interesting, or you are just sitting here for the purpose that we have a workshop today and you are sitting here? See, I'll show you some more things which will even make you fantasize your data. Like the data which you are going to see next, you'll be able to create a report in under 10 seconds. Do you think your immediate boss, whomsoever you will be working for, or you yourself will be happy if you can drill down a 16,000 line item, or for that matter 6 lakh line item of data in under 10 seconds? Does that sound interesting to you? If you can just summarize 6 lakh rows of data in under 10 seconds with a guarantee of accuracy of no mathematical error, no logical error. Printable, ready report prepared in under 10 seconds. So, I'm jumping on to the next sheet. Here it is sort and filter. Okay, I'm holding on for that as well. And I'm directly coming on to subtotal. Okay, subtotal you have seen and you have understood as well. In intermediate totals of the grand total, that is called as the subtotal. Okay. Now, say for example, this is the data showing 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, and 4 and 5. Yes. If I ask you what is the total burger sales, you answered me in the last class, it was 652. Yes. If in this report, if I have to ask you what is the grand immediate subtotal for burger, for pizza, and hot dog, can you answer me? The answer should remain the same if the data is same. Yes or no? So, another tool I want to show it to you here. We have understood subtotal as a function. Now what we are going to understand is subtotal as a tool. Okay. So using subtotal tool, what we need to do is, in this list, first of all, we are sorting the data based on A to Z. So once we do this, you can see all burgers are together at one place. Then you have hot dog and then you have pizza. There is no change that after burger, if there is hot dog, then you have a line item for burger once again after the hot dog. That is not happening anymore. You have all burger at one place followed by hot dog and then pizza. This list has been arranged in correct sorted manner A to Z. Okay, because I did that. Now, if I go to data tab again, there is an option here called outline, and within outline there is a tool called subtotal. If I use this tool, it is asking me for at each change in. So at each change in item, if I do this, and if I use a sum function called sum, and if I add this function to this particular header called sale price, and if I hit OK, you'll be amazed to see a report something like this showing total sales of burger, hot dog, and pizza with the grand total as 160. So this is done again in no time just by sorting the data correctly and applying the function called subtotal. We did it through SUMIF right now. We did, na? But again, in sum, if you were to make a list which was unique, then using data validation, you will be able to capture one by one all of them. Your friend answered me that it was 652 for burger. I gave him an example asking if the organization is type of an organization which houses 5,000 items or 500 items for that matter. Are we in a position to answer it one by one for each of the items? But here I have done it once, and all items are showing me only the totals of each item. So irrespective of the size of the data, once again, the time taken to do the task is under 10 seconds. I'll do it once again for you and you can have a look once again. So this is my raw data. Earlier my data was sorted in this manner where all ones were together, twos were together and all items were not together. It was coming one after the other in any other manner or in any manner, right? The first step to apply correctly subtotals is to correctly sort the data which you need to use for subtotal. Here, if it is through item wise data, that is how I need to make my report, then what I'll do is I'll come to item and sort it A to Z. So if I do this, what happens is all burger come at one place, followed by hot dog, and then followed by pizza. It is in ABCD order, right? So in ABCD, the first is B. There is no item with A, then it is with B. C, D, and E, it is hot dog, and then pizza. Alright, A to Z order. What we do next is we come to data tab, we come to outline, and in outline we have an option here called subtotal. This dialog box opens up when you click on that subtotal. It is asking us, where do I have to insert subtotal? Excel is asking me, where should I insert subtotals? So I tell it that whenever there is a change in item, it means that whenever this item changes from burger to hot dog, what it should do is it should create a new line item, and herein it should insert a subtotal, something like this, subtotal 9, comma, and select the range for that item. So this returns you 652. So this I have done manually, but if you use that option, you will not be wanted to do this manually. Excel will do it for you. So once again, I am going back to outline and subtotal and using at each change in. So if I use the word item here, so every time there is a change in item, which means a change from burger to hot dog to pizza, therein it will insert a new line item. What it will do there is, it will use the function called sum, and using the function called sum, which column will it sum? It will sum the sell price column. Okay. If I hit OK, it returns me a result showing this. This is a 3-layered report. This is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is layer 3. So if I move on to layer 2, now what I have in front of me is a summary report showing me the subtotals of each of the items stored. Get it?
Earlier, the people that were associated with this particular products are the same in this particular order or people change.
No, it will remain same. It should remain same, na?
Yes. No, that's what. Because everything came in the order, right?
The sort is because of the sort. Are you saying that the shop ID and the name of the person will also change, or will it remain same as it was in the raw data format? This is your question.
Technically, it has to say
It has to stay same. So it will stay same till the time you have this data filters across all your columns. If you don't select data filters across all your columns in only one column, then your data will go haywire. Okay. Excel will take care of it. Otherwise, the line item will be disturbed. Yes. And as a proof for what your question, if that would have changed, then this 652 would also have changed, because this would not have been the same answer, because we are using the same data set. Yes. So is it okay? Are you okay with the subtotal tool? Any doubts or queries? Okay. Now, say for example, let me show you yet another stylish way of presenting your data. Okay. Same data set. Here then what I am doing is, okay, coming directly to the next one, which is reading itself, the sheet name is slicer. So what I do here is, in this sheet, first of all, I create this data, I select this data and make it as a table. Excel tables, how many of you know about it? Excel tables. Anyone of you know about it? So the shortcut for inserting a table is Control plus T. Table T से शुरू होता है. So Control T is the shortcut for inserting a table. Okay. So once a table is inserted, you can see this tab here called Table Design. And if you click on this tab, you will find the name of the table here. Okay. So this is a table now. Now there is this smart filter which you can apply here. You already know about filters. Filter क्या करता है आप लोग सबको पता है? You are able to slice data based on those filters, right? So before I do that, let me just get a sum of the total. So here, once a table is inserted, if you come and place alt equal to here, you can see that this line will come in. It will show you the sum directly. Okay. Now this is the total data, the total of which is 1604 and the count of items is 16. We have already seen this. Now, if I ask you what is the total of burger, you know it is 652. So you can show it to me something like this. If I just filter in burger, then this report will show me this is 652 and the count of sales is 7. 7 times burger has been sold and the total of which is 652. If I come and change it to hot dog, the sales have happened for 4 times and the count is and the total is 400, right? And similarly, if I check it for pizza, then it is 5 times sales and 552 is the value of sales, right? If this filtering which you have done for you right now, if I don't do it this way, there is a better way of doing it. What is that? Click somewhere on the table, move on to this tab called insert, and in insert you have an option here called a slicer. Okay. Now if I ask you what do you understand by the word called slicer? Slicer का हिंदी मीनिंग क्या? आप अपने जो most convenient words में समझा सकते हो. Please explain me what do you understand by the word called slicer? Yes. थोड़ा loudly. Okay. So slicer mostly we see it in the kitchen. And what do we slice with it? Vegetables, fruits, right? Okay. Now coming back to Excel. Do we have fruits and vegetables in Excel? No. We have only one thing which we call as data. Okay. So in Excel, when we talk about slices, we will be slicing data. That is what we have already been doing using filters. So slicers are nothing but filters only. But these are graphical filters. So when I click on slicer, it asks me which is that for which I need a slicer. So if I click on item, it will give me a list, unique list of all the items within that header called item. So in item we have only 3 options: burger, pizza, and hot dog in this example. So if I click on burger, you can see that list is getting filtered just on a click over there. I don't have to come and navigate, select the drop down and make the changes. I can just click onto this. So you can see that my presentation has changed now. If I have to make a presentation, do you think I like to filter it the old way or should I filter it this way to my presentation? What do you prefer? Your choice. See, presentation matters. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
That is why we are paying 500-600 rupees for a plate of vegetable in a 5-star hotel and not the same in a dhaba. Yes? Agreed? The 5-star is also charging you for ambience, but it is also charging you for the presentation of the food and the place, right? Yes, the presentation of food matters. So here, when we are presenting our reports, don't you think that presentation matters? If I am to make a presentation in front of you, and if my presentation itself is good, do I not get some additional marks from you? That applies to you also when you go in for a job. Yes, your CV, the way you make it, don't you think it appeals? It has the appeal onto the person looking at it, or it makes them go away from you just on the look of that CV? Yes, no? So in any way, wherever you relate, your presentation does matter. And this is one good way to make presentations on Excel in a much structured manner, just because you have your data already there. Values तो वही रहने वाले हैं. Sum हमेशा 1 plus 2 3 ही होगा. आप उसको present कैसे करते हो ये मैटर करता है, right? Okay, so this was about slicer. Now, if I also talk to you about one more feature of Excel, which is pivot table. This is very interesting, and this is one of the best tools Excel has to present you for summarizing your data. Okay. Now, when I talk about 16,000 line items or 1,60,000 line items of data, that data in itself does not allow me to make interpretation or understanding from it. Right? I have to first of all summarize it. And once the summaries are drawn, only then there can be some insights about that data. What is that data trying to tell me? Right? We have all seen Shark Tank. सब कुछ हो जाता है, उसके बाद एक क्वेश्चन आता है, आपके लास्ट 3 साल का सेल्स बता दीजिए. बहुत बार सुना होगा आप सबने. Those sale numbers are actually summary of what your business has performed, how your business has performed in the last 3 years. So they are wanting to get from you all such summaries. If you go into Shark Tank or any other show for that matter and carry all the vouchers of sales and tell the shark or the judge, these are my sales, total of sales vouchers, will he be interested in funding you or even talking to you? Because if you don't have your summary figures, he does not have enough time to check one by one all of the vouchers and later on adding it 1,000, 5,000, 15,000 total becomes 1 lakh. ये time उसके पास नहीं है. Alright. So that summary you need to prepare. And if there are 6 lakh line items and if you are troubled with the fact the size of the data is troubling you to work upon on Excel, so my friend, here is the solution for that. 10 seconds is all that we require to create that report. और उतना टाइम तो हम सबके पास होता है, राइट? अभी तक मैं बोल रहा हूँ इतना टाइम नहीं होता है, फिर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि 10 seconds तो हमारे पास हो ही जाता है. So if this is the size of the data, again same 16 line items of data, but see we are in a classroom environment now. If I bring in with me 1,60,000 line items, first of all you will fear it, and then there is no point of getting that data because the work involved in solving 16 lines and 1,60,000 lines is all the same. Okay. So what we will do here is click somewhere within the data. Is that possible for you? Yes. Now, if that is possible for you, you have done a lot of it. Okay? What I am saying, I am meaning it. I am going to insert tab. In insert tab, you have 2 choices here. One is pivot table. This is to be exercised when you know how to create that table. And if you do not even know how to create a pivot table, then there is a second option here called recommended pivot tables. Excel itself is recommending some tables to you, some summaries to you. So if you click on this recommendation, on the right hand side, you will see some things happening. So it is telling you sale price by item. And if you just click on insert on new sheet, you will get a summary created for you, something like this. What is this table? If you just see it and answer me, ये table देखकर आपको क्या समझ आ रहा है? This is sales of each item, right? Did I do any effort to create it? I went on and clicked somewhere within that data. Is it possible for you to do that? Very simple. Click somewhere within that data. Go to insert tab, go to recommended pivot table, and within those recommendations on the right hand side, the first recommendation was this, that create a pivot table showing item wise sales report, right? So all those items in that list of data, in that raw data, maybe 1,60,000 line items of data, I don't care. Am I really bothered by the size of the data now? I have clicked on one cell somewhere within the data. I have not even bothered to see which cell. Easy? Life cannot be easier than this, I believe. If you can create reports just like this without even not doing 5 clicks, उससे simple और क्या हो सकता है? Anyone like to disagree with me? I'll do it once again for you if required. What I have done here is, this was my data. Click somewhere within the data. Somewhere मतलब anywhere but within the data. ठीक है? Possible? Click on insert. Go to recommended pivot table. In this recommendations, the first one is sell price by item, which is also giving you a preview something like this. So if you click on this insert on a new sheet, it will insert the data as a pivot table on a new sheet. Okay? Then there is a second recommendation, sell price by item and sales person. मतलब किसने क्या कितना बेचा है? Please relate with my words. किसने meaning sales person, who has sold what and for how much. Okay. So if I click on this, so who has sold? Eve has sold burger for 132. Eve has sold a total of 352. Total of burger sales are 652 distributed in Eve, Bobby, Kathy, Finlay, Abby and John. Kitna kitna? 132, 128, 120 and so on. If I would have otherwise asked you this, I asked you to prepare this report, don't you think you would not have given me in this much time? Possible otherwise? With a guarantee of accuracy given 1,60,000 line items are present? No. So with pivot tables, this becomes something like so very easy. Is it a lot of effort involved? किया क्या आपने? If I can call it this way, am I wrong? You are just doing some clicks which are totally 3 to 4 in number. 3 से 4 clicks करने से आपका रिपोर्ट बन रहा है. Mathematically guaranteed to be correct, not 99.99%, but 100%. Yes. Good part about a pivot table. I'll show you again. I'm going back to that. Okay. Now, say for example, if I don't want the recommended pivot table, but I want to create one by myself, तो भी effort बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है. How do I say this? Why do I say this? If I click somewhere on the data, go to insert, click on this time on this pivot table. From table or range. So this selects the entire area, and if I hit OK, okay. So if I talk about item and drag it and drop it under rows, so what happens is it creates a table showing all those items within this data set. So in this data set, we have only 3 items. So these 3 items are listed here. Now I want the total of sales. So I can drag and drop this sale price under values. So this is the report which the recommended pivot table created for me. But if not that way, if I want to do it manually by myself, I can do it this way. Okay? Even good part about it, you doubt that it is not 652, the number of sales per burger, or if you ask me, how is it that it is 652? If someone from the audience, if I'm making this presentation and someone from the audience asks me this question, what is that all I'm supposed to do? I just need to come to this 652. एक बार click नहीं, 2 बार click करना है, which you call it as a double click. Double click on it to get a new list showing the sales of 652 in a perfect manner. Yes. Why it is 652? Because Kathy has sold this. Kathy has sold this much. Finlay, John, Abby, Bobby, and Eve have sold this much, and so on. Okay. So I have filtered a list of those 652 values. Why is that 652? This is why this is 652. So you have answers for your audience right in front of them. You have not prepared this sheet earlier on, right? You were in a presentation, you did not know someone would question you this. This is live, right? So if it is live and you have to answer them bang on, this is the way to do it. Okay? Simply go and double click. So if I come back to my sheet and if I click on 552, double click on it rather, so this becomes my total of businesses. Alright? Any doubts or queries here? Yes. Now, say for example, same data set, I don't want item wise sales, I want shop wise sales. Sales of shop 1. So what I need to do here is, I can drop this shop ID into rows and sale price under values. So this is shop ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the report for each of the sales. Again, you can double click on each of the value and see the report for that particular shop only. Give it a try. Please give this a try and ask me any doubts if you have. Any doubts? See, I have been training CA students and CA professionals mostly across the country. And when I am going on to this, I say that आपको इसमें doubts कहाँ से होगा, आपको कुछ करना ही नहीं पड़ रहा है. So correct me if I am wrong. Are you doing enough that you may have some doubts here? कुछ problem हो रही है आपको? See, when you do something, you may do some faulty things, right? कुछ गलती तब करोगे ना जब कुछ करोगे. यहाँ आपको ज्यादा कुछ करना ही नहीं पड़ रहा है. एक या दो क्लिक, ज्यादा से ज्यादा 5 क्लिक. यहाँ स्कोप का है बस गलती करने का, right? Yes, the class has gone silent. Either you are busy in doing it, लेकिन where is that busyness? Because you don't have to do much. Where are you busy? Anyone who has a doubt, you can ask me. Yes? Okay. Now, if I have to show you sales of shop 1, which is 354, but if you ask me what has been sold in shop 1 which totals to 354, what items have been sold? So what I can do simply here is, in this item which is here, I can just drag and drop it further either onto rows or onto columns. So if I drop onto columns, the preview of the pivot table changes to something like this. It shows me that shop 1 has sold a total of 354, which includes 234 from burger and 120 from pizza. Okay, so this is yet and again a presentation done for you because I dropped this item under column. If I drag and drop this item under rows, the report preview will change. However, the value will not change. 354 to 354 ही रहेगा. Can that change? It cannot. The sales of burger and pizza will remain the same, only the way of presentation has changed. Instead of a landscape format, it is all in a portrait format. Yes? Now you are the chef here who is preparing this dish. So you need to design for yourself how your table or how your report should look like, whether on a portrait level or on a landscape level. Okay? Now, say for example, if I also drag and drop this salesperson in this column, so this is my report. Of the total sales of burger, which was 234 for shop 1, who has sold it? So Avi has sold burger worth is 106 and Bobby has sold it for 128. Okay? Not to tell you that anywhere on any such number, if you double click, you can get the data underlying that. You can give that a try if you want to, else you can just believe my words. Okay? Any doubts here? Any doubts here? This report, are you able to make it? Everyone? This report, if I would have otherwise asked you to prepare, don't you think this would have taken a long time? And still there would not have been a guarantee of accuracy. See, as students of finance, students and professionals of finance, we cannot, that is a big word, we cannot issue inaccurate reports. We may take time to prepare a report, that is all fine, provided your boss allows you. But we cannot prepare inaccurate reports because the entire insight that is to be drawn from that data will get changed if your report is inaccurate. You agree to me on this? So, see, the idea is to reach to Delhi from Guwahati, right? Delhi to पहुंचना ही है. Can you say that you have reached Lucknow and that is all fine if you had to reach Delhi? No. अगर दिल्ली पहुंचना है तो दिल्ली ही पहुंचना पड़ेगा. That is the essence of the story, right? So getting at the most exact point where to reach is fine. You may take different routes. Say, for example, you may take a route like subtotal. You may take a route like pivot table. You may do a sum if. You may do a sum. You may do a subtotal. The choice is all yours. We are arriving every time at 1604. You can see this value. Yes, this was the first thing which I showed you when I presented to you this data. This is my data still in front of you. This was the first cell, right? In which this was the first second sheet, but this was it, right? So here we are talking about the 1604, which is being carried across all the sheets. So we are using sum, subtotal as a tool, then also slicer, and then now pivot table. But every time the value will remain same. 1 plus 2, can it change from any other number other than 3? No, it cannot. So that has to be remain same. But the point is which tool and which function you use depends on you. The constraint within that task, your time maybe. But again, the accuracy cannot change. It has to be 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. This has to be the bottom line. Alright? Okay, so on that note, I have few more things to show, but I don't know how much time do I have because I was asked to get a 2 hour lecture for you, and it is almost time for that. If you have any questions, we can discuss that for the next 5-10 minutes. My lecture on Excel will never be ending because when I am going on with this, I have spent 9 hours with many corporates house standing one sided. So 9 hours straight, that is how I have been doing. So for me, it can be a one like how much time you can tolerate me, that much time I can speak in front of, I can stand and speak in front. So I have n number of topics to cover, but again, since we are calling it as a basic class, so this is all that we can do for now, given the time we have. So if you have any queries, we can take up that, or else we can conclude the session. Over to you. Anything you, if you have any queries, whether with regards to with regards to the contents of the session, or otherwise with regards to whatever you may have seen other people do on Excel, you might have heard people doing something on Excel. You have any queries, you can ask it to me. See, my experience with Excel has been very nice. I have met and trained professionals who are 25 years into their line of work, some very senior people who are the head of finance in the respective organizations, some much older to me in age. I am 35 at the moment, so I have trained people who are 60, and at the same time, I have trained people who are just 18, 19, 20. So I run an institute here in Guwahati, which is Excel with Excel, and I'm also a national trainer for many such corporates like L&T, EY, PwC, and a lot more in our area of practice. Like, see, I'm a CA, as I told you. So we have an, there are big four names. You may, आपको पता है ना सबको? Big four, Deloitte, EY, इनका नाम सब आपने सुना है ना? So I'm a trainer to them. When I'm training to them, then our course content is different. When I'm talking to you, we cannot talk on the same lines today. Yes, of course, we'll do it sometime later. So that is my way of looking at Excel, and that is how my life goes on every day. We have trainings which we do it through Zoom these days because after COVID, like acceptance to online teaching and trainings have increased. So either ways, I am somewhere or the other connected to Excel through my institute, that is Excel with Excel, or through my trainings online and offline. So in any manner, see, when I talk about to you about my institute, that is Excel with Excel, and that is perhaps the only institute in India which teaches you not computer education but only Excel, and that is why that name. Like in my institute, we do not cover PowerPoint as such. So if I talk about MS Office as a package, that is also not there. Only Excel is something which I focus upon and nothing else. So if you have any queries with regards to Excel, if I can answer, I definitely like to answer it. So you can shoot. Yes, anyone? Anyone? See, if no queries, in just another 2 minutes, I'll be talking and then I'll be gone. आप लोगों को भजन को अगर जाने की जल्दी लगी है, please another 2 minutes to be with me. See, when he spoke to me about Aman or any such personality, and when you talk about your role here as a student in a B school, then the idea is very soon either you will be getting into a job or you will be starting something of your own. Anyway, if you are connected to business as a field, then you will have data, and this software will be your biggest savior. I'm not telling you this because I am into this field, but I'm telling you this because as a CA, we are also in a way every day we are talking with different businesses and analyzing and mostly auditing them. But anyway, whatever is the kind of audit that we do for them, this software has been a total life changer for me because in my daily life also, even if it is not my work, not my CA practice or not my Excel training, whatever I do, I place it on this particular sheet to derive me analysis of that data. So that is what I want to place with you, that this software is going to be helpful to you in whatever you may choose to do next in your lives. Okay. So just on that if you believe me that yes, this will be helpful to you, learn it wherever you can. I'm not asking you to come to me. Wherever you can learn this software, please do take time and understand this. Wherever you may land up, अमन गुप्ता अश्मीर के पास या anywhere else, ये आपके काम है. ठीक है? Okay, so that is all from my side. Since you have no queries, we can conclude the session.